Well, what do we have here? I tell you what, ladies and gentlemen, I did not see us pulling a point out of the fire at the Etihad, especially everything considered. An Enzo Fernandez late equaliser sees Chelsea take a point away at the Etihad, helping Arsenal in the Premier League title challenge, which is a sickener, of course, but keeping Chelsea in the top 5 above Manchester United. Well, we don't have a manager. Welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host, Jan. I must say, I feel pretty good about that. I genuinely think we were going to get touched up so badly that it would be uploaded to an adult website shortly after. And maybe, like, the first half, the amount of pressure... Let me just put a hat on because I'm not sure what the hell is going on with the hair. Yeah, man. Spirit. And heart. And, you know, Andre Santos coming on looking really ruddy good. And Liam Rosenior pictured in a French airport about to touch down at Chelsea. So, if we're going to be positive about stuff... Comeback, fighting spirit, Captain Reece James, Vice Captain Enzo Fernandez, Andre Santos genuinely looking excellent, and he is Rosenior's favourite boy, his best boy. Maybe Chelsea would start playing better because the likes of, you know, even Hato looked alright off the bench. Maybe we just need to see some of these players we've not been seeing, but I tell you, going into this game, yeah, our record at the Etihad is hella stinky. It's awful. It's harrowing. It's nightmarish. I have the flu at the moment. I'm hopefully past the nadir, but I thought this was going to end me, this game. Yeah. So, you know, our record at the Etihad just generally against Man City is terrible. We go into this game with our most important midfielder, Moises Caicedo, suspended. We go into this game without a football manager. Callum McFarlane took the game, and I realised I called him Shane. I don't even know why. I have no idea why I called him Shane. I guess my temperature was high, but that's how much I was, you know, not intentionally, but thoroughly disrespecting the man who was taking Chelsea, managing Chelsea away at the Etihad to play Pep Guardiola's Manchester City. So Shane/Callum was managing us. And this was our backline, gang. Yeah, this sent me spinning. So let's take a little... Before, you know, seeing how they performed, we had, at left back, our second choice right back in Malo Gusto was playing at left back. Benoit Badiashile, that's dropped to disaster class of late and frightened Chelsea fans. A lot of Chelsea fans think he's not good enough. Trevoh Chalobah, who's probably our third best centre-back, third choice, of course, behind Colwill and Fofana. And then, of course, teenage centre-back, Joshua Champong playing right back. Now, if that lineup wasn't enough to send you chills and shivers down your spine, that will be playing in, you know, obviously playing behind in the absence, or shall I say, the void left by Caicedo, but also playing in front of Philip Jorgensen, who I think is generally, in his defence, a pretty terrible goalkeeper. Look, he might come good. He's still only 23, but he's had some stinkers in the Chelsea goal. He made a great save, actually, in this game and deserves flowers. Actually, we'll go through players and talk about performances, because there's some players that did some real bad stuff and had a lot of opportunity to do good stuff. Pedro Neto, I'm looking at you. And even Cole Palmer, bro. Like, what's happened to Palmer? I don't know where Palmer's head's at. But when I saw that back five against Foden, Cherky, Bernardo Silva, Haaland, you know, I was freaking out, bro. I thought they were going to put 4 past us before halftime. It turned out to be an actual midfielder who's playing at left wing in Reinders that scored what I thought was a good goal, actually. A lot of people gave Badiashile grief for that. But I thought it was just a really good goal. I think he defended him on his right foot, and then he takes it on his weaker foot, Reinders, and scores a good near post finish. Anyway, by the way, welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host Jan. Got the admin in 4 minutes 37 seconds, so now you have to like and subscribe. Usually at the beginning you say, oh, here he is, Jan, asking us to like and subscribe. I've caught you deeper into the content. It's like a psychological trap, so now you got to do it. Thank you for liking and subscribing. And of course, if you search on your podcast platforms, Football Therapy Podcast, you can follow me there for the days you can't watch me or you don't have YouTube Premium. So please do head over to Spotify. It's super simple. Just follow Football Therapy Podcast, and if you do want to help your boy Jan out, simply give me a 5-star rating. It's a millisecond of your existence, and I'll give you all my love, baby. And that's expensive. So here we are. It is a sort of, it's listed here as a 4-2-3-1 with the captains holding the midfield, Enzo and Reece James, both eating up a yellow card. Estevao, Palmer, and Neto and Joao Pedro in the front four. So actually the front five, the defensive five, which I include the goalkeeper, is scary sugar. But the front five is, you know, in theory, great quality. My English is failing. Only 3 substitutions, of course. I see Gaga Slanina on the bench there because Cucurella, Robert Sanchez unavailable. Wesley Fofana, apparently he's got some sort of illness, probably what I've got. I think Pedro Neto shouldn't have necessarily lasted that game. And of course, you know, loads of good Man City players, they're really good. Yeah, in terms of lineup, man, like, I guess if those other defenders are unavailable, including the goalkeeper, I mean, let's just be fair. Considering our form, 1 win in 7, which is actually now 1 win in 8, which is a sickener in itself. But considering the run, the no manager, the sensational controversy, yeah, the Shane McFarlane... He's done a great job and deserves immense credit. It's just funny that I was calling him Shane. Shane McFarlane, you know, all of that stuff, yeah, all of it. We don't really have I'm going to speak about strikers in a moment, like Delap and Joao Pedro and Jackson. Sorry, I'm still literally a bit sniffy from the flu in my brain. Considering it's a great result and spirited performance, and I'm delighted for the Chelsea fans and the away fans. The Londoners Blue Boys and their posse are out there, so I'm so pleased they got to see a spirited comeback and, you know, a valuable point that keeps us in the top 5. I'm gassed. Well done, Chelsea fans. Totally understandable. The chance for Roman Abramovich. It's I suppose it's easier to sing his name, perhaps, than we want Blue Coat out, maybe? I don't know where we are there. But I think the Roman Abramovich, it's less... I think it's more of just... It's kind of like a defiant, protesty chant, but it's also... It's almost like a demonstration of what we should be, if that makes sense. You know, the tenure, the Roman era. So I don't want to speak for Chelsea fans who sing it, but I don't think it's just... you know, we want this lot out. I think it's just a sort of like, a remember who we are sort of thing. Without getting geopolitical, of course. So, yes, it's a game of 2 halves. For those watching the video on YouTube and Spotify, available the video, you will see the attacking momentum meter on the screen. For the opening 4-5 minutes, it was a pretty even. And then, literally, it's all Man City. We were just sitting back and defending, and we kept them right to the very end of the first half for them to score their goal. I mean, both goals were scored right at the end of each respective halves. But, dare I say, like, they should have basically killed off the game in the first half. We sat deep. And then we came out in the second half, and it was super even. It was super even, and you could say we deserved the goal, you know? In fact, let's take a look at the statistics of both halves. Let's do it in the individual halves, yeah. So the first half, why am I clicking on the friggin' OBS? First half, as you can see, yeah, they did get a goal from 0.69 XG. So they didn't create that much, bro. They created no big chances. Man City created no big chances. We only had, 0.19. So, you know, but which is, yeah, fine. But They had 9 shots, but they had no big chances. So for all that possession, 68% to 32, it wasn't really that threatening. They got their goal, but it's not like they had like 3 XG and they only managed a goal. 0.69 XG. So, you know, they weren't that dominant. I'm not having this, oh, how did they not score? I know Haaland hit the post, but it wasn't like, how is this only 1-0? Or I didn't feel like that. It felt like Chelsea were being defensively resolute and probably a bit too passive. And let's just quickly have a look at the timeline here for context. So Reinders scores in the 42nd minute. And then we make a halftime sub, Estevao for Santos, which I think made possibly Palmer go over to the wing as opposed to being as a number 10. But the second half, let's have a look at the second half statistics, right? Yeah, look at this, bro. Look at this. We had more of the ball, 54% at the Etihad. We generated 1.54 XG to their 0.29. In fact, bro, yeah, and we created 3 big chances to their 0. Hold on. We created way more better chances than they did. 3 big chances to their 0. They didn't even create 1 expected goal. It was 0.99. We created 1.73. I can't quite believe this. This is Chicken Oriental. I'm going to screenshot that and potentially put it in the thumbnail because it's blown my mind. Anyway, late doors, loads of arguments. Late doors, Enzo Fernandez comes steaming in, scoring what can only be described as a relatively scrappy goal. Finally tucking it in with his toe, but he does get it in. And we celebrate. And I thought we were maybe going to go again and score a winner, which would have been very funny. And look at those stats. Look at those stats. We well deserve that. Really, really well deserved. Right, sorry, I just had to double check something. Yeah, I can't believe how we've outshot them and 3 big chances to their 0. I think that's absolutely mental. So let's talk about player performances, shall we? Right then. Jorgensen in goal. Ruddy good. He made that save where I think it was Haaland took a shot. I believe it hit Chalobah's back heel and spun to where I think it was probably going to go in, and Jorgensen made a good save. He also made a few excellent passes. He also made a heart attack pass to poor Jarell Hatto, who'd just come on, who somehow sort of semi-dealt with it. At least it didn't lead to a really bad shot. So Jorgensen, big tick. Who knew? I tell you what, not me. Josh Champong made an amazing recovery challenge, but he's also been kind of like listed here as one of our worst rated players, which I think is a little bit unfair for the teenage centre-back playing at right-back. Malo Gusto played both positions. He obviously started at left-back, but moved to right-back and was a lot better. Still not great. Reece James and Enzo Fernandez, I think, were both broadly excellent. Captain and vice-captain in the midfield, in the absence, of course, of Moises Caicedo. Estevao might have had a few moments. I kind of feel like we played it wrong with Estevao. Obviously giving him the first half and bringing him off. I think, if you could play this game again, I don't know, we've got a good result. It's a good result. I don't want to, critique it. But imagine, Estevao coming off the bench in that game. Santos coming off the bench and the sort of change of shape a little bit helped massively. So I almost wouldn't want to F with that. But Estevao, I feel like we played it wrong with him. He should have come on in the game when it was frantic and mental at the end. Now, João Pedro, I think, is poor. I don't think he's a striker. I don't like him as a striker. I know he scored that goal against Newcastle, which is an amazing centre-forward goal. Can do it in a pinch. He's a very talented footballer. But in terms of what Delap did off the bench, I think he was way more effective than João Pedro. Cole Palmer just doesn't look sharp yet. Whether it's the long-term groin injury, whether his head's all over the gaff because it's, Man City and, Maresca's just gone and there's some sort of speculation actually he's happy Maresca's gone. I'm not going to get too into that drama. But, Cole Palmer is, he just needs to get his head back in the game. He swung his boot at that chance that came across and Delap was there after him and, an informed Cole Palmer is just in those moments and he makes connections with those balls and he scores goals. Now, Pedro Neto's got a 6 rating here, which I believe is the lowest for a Chelsea player. And I can kind of get it. He would have frustrated so many Chelsea fans. What I will say about him is he's doing that thing that Garnacho does, where he's always in the right place at the right time, making the right action, but the end action is poor. And the end decision is poor. So he was literally doing an Alejandro Garnacho impression in that game. Early season, Club World Cup / early season, Pedro Neto gets a goal and an assist in this game. He was sort of scrambling on the ball, trying to retain possession rather than just lay it off or take the early shot. There was the moment he put it over the bar where he should have got on target. There was a moment where he should have laid it off early doors from the left wing. So it's kind of very frustrating. He works very hard. He made the runs and all that. But, I think it was ultimately a poor performance. Really notable off the bench. Look, dare I say, and I'm going to say it under Shane McFarlane here, Andre Santos, Uriel Hato, and Liam Delap. Now, Liam Delap got 6.2, I think, broadly because he was booked, and he's a thug. I mean, he's a thug in a good and a bad way, isn't he, Liam? But I thought in terms of how he played on the half term, how he actually was physical and pushing through and actually asked questions, he immediately was a bulldozer in a good way and just basically affected the game much more positively than Joao Pedro, in my opinion. I think as soon as Liam settles and someone gets in his ear, like the right coach, I guess, Liam Rosenior coached him at Hull. Is that a good thing? I mean, Maresca coached him under 23, so he's been coached by all these guys anyway. I do think there's a player in Delap. But we'll speak about Rosenior and maybe Jackson just to end the video. I think Hato looked really good as a left sort of centre back. Let's have a look at his heat map quickly. Yeah, so he played as sort of left in the back free towards the end, not getting up too much. Looked pretty good actually. There's a player there. He cost best part of £40 million as a teenager. He's meant to be amazing. He's meant to be a really talented footballer, Hato. It's like Santos. I hope to see more of Hato and Santos under Rosenior, who, by the way, is on his way. So, and Santos looked great. I mean, I think he's our, second highest rated player? Yeah, he is, and he came off the bench, bro. So that tells you all you need to know about Andre Santos. He can play number 6, he can play number 8, he can even play number 10 if you ask him. He's really robust, he's combative, he's a fighter. And he's a little bit more, I think he'd probably play striker better than Joao Pedro in terms of how physical he is. So really, really delighted with the result. I think Chelsea have got a really great result there. They've showed spirit, they've shown a performance for the fans in adversity with loads of key players absent. Of course, there's a picture circulating of Liam Rosenior at an airport. He's on his way, basically. And not only is he on his way, he was looking at a phone, so he's probably watching the game. Do you know what I mean? So Rosenior's on his way. Santos will be buzzing that he put in a good performance just before Rosenior touches down, because he's like, pick me for Fulham, Gaffer, pick me for Fulham. Massive credit to, I'm not going to call him Shane, Callum McFarlane, who engineered what is an excellent result, ultimately, in the circumstances. And I do want to quickly speak about striker, because in times where we create 3 big chances to Man City's 0, I do want to speak about Nicholas Jackson, who's scored consecutive double digits for non-penalty goals for Chelsea in his first 2 seasons. We kept hearing, will Jackson return to Chelsea? And the thing was, not as long as Enzo Maresca is there. Well, Enzo Maresca is gone. And Joao Pedro isn't playing well as a striker. And and he's not playing that much for Bayern, and they're not going to have the clause to bring him back. I would bring back Jackson and say, hi, mate. I'll get Liam on the phone to him and say, Maresca's gone. I love how you did some of the hard work for Chelsea. Genuinely, I think, even if you play him on the wing as well, I'd bring back Jackson as an attacking reinforcement for the rest of the season. I wanted to end the video talking about that because I wanted to see what you guys think. I spoke about this kind of at length on the London is Blue podcast, mainly with Nick, about what Jackson offered the team. He frustrated with his finishing, but he still offered so much. And although Cole Palmer got really frustrated with Nico towards the end, they did have a really good understanding in that first season under Pochettino, and they can link up really, really well. And I think maybe he'd be a really good reinforcement to have. You'd have Cole Palmer playing in the 10, and then when, as his backup, Joao Pedro or Estevao, depending on the shape, and then you can have Liam Delap and, Nico fighting, and because they're more similar, those 2 strikers, and then Liam Rosenior can, coach that style for those kind of strikers. Get Santos in there, see out the season, take a deep breath, and see if we're going to be all right. Let me know your thoughts, though. Please do leave them down in the comments section below. I'll be very grateful for your thoughts. Thank you for liking this video on YouTube and subscribing to the channel. And if you do subscribe, hitting the bell, please do go check me out on Spotify. Follow Football Therapy Podcast and give it a 5-star rating. I think I'm near 500 5-star ratings, which is amazing. So thank you so much for that. And this is the most Chelsea thing ever, isn't it? All of this. And we are in a transfer window, by the way, so What the ruddy heck's gonna happen? I have no idea. Let me know your thoughts. Thank you as always, for your support. And keep the blue flag flying high.